Good morning. So today we'll discuss something about the commodity boards and about the quality standards. Since we'll be dealing more with commodities, it is very important that the specification of qualities and gradings becomes very important. So today we'll focus more on the aspects of how the commodity should look like, and what are the various commodity boards which are there. Okay, from your examination per se, what are the important commodity boards and what are its main functions? Okay, so these are some of the topics which we'll discuss today. So coming back to the commodity boards, the government, especially the Ministry of Commerce, okay, so they have set up various boards in order to provide and help the farmers and the business people who are connected with that particular commodities. So either they may be growers, or they may be processors, or they may be manufacturers or distributors, whatever it is. So in order to safeguard their interest, or in order to bring a consensus among these producers or manufacturers who are dealing with such type of particular products or related products, so a board has been set up, and the board has been given a lot of financial assistance and also assistance in terms of providing help relating to marketing or exporting or something like that. So the board actually works between the end users, that is buyers, and the stakeholders, that is the manufacturers or producers or growers like farmers and all those people. So they act as a connecting body, and their role is to mainly see to it that the particular commodity or the product or the produce, whatever is coming into the system, right? So it gets a proper recognition and proper assistance from the government in terms of various schemes like funding or marketing or technology related things, storing, all these things. So the board normally facilitates, we can call them as facilitators. So they facilitate between the end user, that is customers, and the growers, that is the farmers or the manufacturers, whoever it may be. So that is basically the role of a board. So the board is set up by the government, and they have been given separate powers, and they run basically based on the instructions what happens from the directors of the board. So it has a nomination and also elected members. So so the people will be elected among the representatives of those member bodies, and they will be the people who will be running the board and under the supervision of the government. So government will be having their own representatives. So both representatives from the stakeholders, that is in the form of producers or manufacturers or growers or whoever it may be, and the representation by the government in the form of their officials, okay, government officials. So they both together will run this board, and we'll discuss what are the different types of boards and all those things in the next few hours from now. So what are the main functions? That's a very important thing which you need to remember here. The major functions of this board are, first one is to take advice. So sorry, not take advice, to participate, okay, to participate in production, development and export of respective commodities. So what they do is they basically take interest. So the board take interest in encouraging people who are into production, in manufacturing or in processing or whatever it is. So they ensure that these people do it at a high quality, okay, and what is required for the market. That's the basic thing what they need to manufacture. And also they would like to connect them to the export market, okay, where where it requires a lot of knowledge about the export procedures and the formalities which are getting involved in the exports and all those things. And that's the main two objectives we can see. They help them in production, okay. So they actively participate in helping them in production, and also trying to find markets, outside markets for their produce or products. Okay, so that's a very important function of the board. The second important function is to introduce new methods of cultivation of commodities. Of course, there are a lot of varieties, a lot of new technology-driven seeds and all those things, right? Methods of technology, all those things are coming up. So, but the job of the board is to facilitate these type of new innovations or new technology or new methods of cultivation, especially in types of using varieties of seeds and the plants and all those things. So the board try to encourage their members. Okay, I'll call them as members. So they encourage their members in order to look into what the future demand is. So they facilitate these things. So as a body, their role is to see that whatever the demand is expected out of in future, right? To meet those demand, how to upgrade the producing community. Okay, so that's their role. So the board plays a very important role because they are the people who are in touch with the markets, and they are the people who are in touch with the government, and they are in the touch with what the expectation of the people are. So they are in touch with all these three different areas. So what they do is they do the survey and they try to collect information, and they try to see that how the existing members of that board, how they need to be equipped in order to face the challenging situations coming in future. So in that angle, they try to develop new methods of cultivating the commodities and all those things. So for that, what are the steps they need to do? That help they will be providing, like testing facilities, or creating an environment for because I'll just give you an example. See, most of the time we cannot expect all the producers or all the manufacturers to have such type of sophisticated equipment with them. So what the board can do is they will lease or rent such type of equipment to the producers or the manufacturers, and see to it that they use that and they manufacture the products or grow the produce or whatever it is. So that is the role of the board. So wherever there is not very difficult for the community, like producers or farmers or manufacturers, to rely or to depend on the technology, right? So board assists them. So that is what you mean to say that new methods of cultivation and all those things. So they train, they educate, they handhold, everything they do. Okay, that's the role of a board. Then the third one, to offer active advice to the government on export matters such as fixing quota for exports and significant trade agreements. So we know that the foreign trade policy of the government, whenever it wants to frame it, right, it tries to get the feel of the respective areas, okay, where they want to bring some changes in the foreign trade policy or in the agreement level and all those things. So in such cases, the government goes back to the board and takes their representation from the board, okay, as to what are the changes required or what are the best ways of policy changes they need to bring in, so that it benefits the community at the large. So they give the advisory services, we can say. Okay, so they give a lot of advisory services to the government, especially in the export procedure document preparation or export related matters, and also in related to if the government wants to sign some trade agreements. So with neighboring countries or from foreign countries. So we know that there are a lot of agreements which takes place between the countries, wherein the mutual understandings happens. So in that angle also, these boards provide a lot of information. Commodity boards provides a lot of information relating to their areas to the government, saying that this is how the quota needs to be fixed, this is how the price fixation should happen and all those things. So the terms and agreements, whatever is required for fulfilling the both countries' terms of trade, right? That will depend on the suggestions, recommendations given by the board. So board plays a very important role in policy making, especially in terms of exports related policy making. So that is one more function of the board. Then it also provides trade information, guidance, and various other services to their members and help them their export promotion efforts. So that is one more important thing. So somewhere if you see these functions, we can see that board is more concerned with keeping exports in mind. Okay, so trade is the main aspect what the board is thinking of. So in order to facilitate this trade efficiently and effectively, the board plays a prominent role. So here also, if you see that the board not only gives suggestions to the government to do the trade agreements and all those things, simultaneously it also tries to equip the members of the board in terms of giving vital information, analysis, statistics, data, and all the information, necessary guidelines, information, whatever is required, right, for those members in order to get themselves self-equipped with the challenges or the opportunities which are there in the market, in the international market, and all those things. So they do they somewhat do the functions of both helping the government in terms of framing the policies, and at the same time also equipping their members to understand the trade and trade related aspects, and also give necessary guidances from time to time, and other services relating to exports and all those things. So basically we can conclude saying that their objective is more of export promotion related. So that's the efforts what the board puts in. So they put more of export promotion oriented type of objectives. So it may be from government side, or it may be even from the member side. So they facilitate the trade to happen, okay, in a very well ecosystem, very well developed ecosystem, we can call it as, so that they create awareness, training programs, and other supportory advisory services in terms of exports related and all those things to their member on the one side, and also give suggestions to the government in framing the policies and in terms of framing the agreements relating to exports and all those things. So it's a dual role what they're playing. And also this board helps in facilitating their members to participate in trade fairs and exhibitions. Okay, so there are a lot of international exhibitions which happens. Okay, so these are the platforms where the manufacturer or producers from one country go and get exposure, okay, from other countries by participating in their trade, trade exposure and exposure visits, or in exhibitions or something like that. So this is one area where they get exposed to the market requirements, or the product quality related things, or how best, or where the markets are actually there, and understanding the needs and requirement of the customers, or how to change the technology or bring innovations in the product so as to meet the needs of the customers. See, these are the area and potentiality of market, where the market lies for the product. See, these are the various things which you come to know when you participate in international exhibitions or trade fairs or such forums. So exposures are very much important, because if you only take those people who are in board, right, or those people who are governing the thing to these visits and participate in the exhibitions, right, so they may not be the right people to understand, okay, because they are not technically sound people who are having knowledge about how the things happen at the ground level. So if you can take the actual contributors, that is the manufacturers, the producers, who are the members of the board. So if you can arrange a visit for those people to participate in international trade fairs, or take their product and demonstrate their product in the international platforms or in the exhibitions, or then it becomes very important that we can negotiate a lot of contracts in those platforms. Not only that, we can also try to learn from the other countries about how they do, what are the ingredients or the qualities of their products, and all these things. So it's a exposure visit, we can call. So you get a lot of exposure in terms of the various areas. So when you participate in those type of exhibitions and all those things, so that is one thing which this board does. So it organizes an international trade fair or exhibitions and all those things, and it asks to members to participate in those, okay, in those exhibitions and all those things. And then there may be other thing also, that they may organize themselves an exhibition here back in India. Okay, they can organize international trade fairs in India. So they can invite foreign country people to come on India. So they can showcase the products or the commodities which have been manufactured by their members. Okay, and they can go for MOUs and all those things, all those procedural things, so that they can give opportunities for their members in order to expand and explore the various markets which are there for their members. So both ways are correct. Okay, so you organize a trade fair and you invite people from outside India and let them participate in the trade fair and take the gain. You that by doing that you gain a lot of knowledge. You gain what are the pulse or sense of the market and all those things. At the same time, you also send your members to foreign trade fairs and all those things to get exposures. So the both things are possible here. Okay, organizing the fairs themselves, or sending their members to different countries where the exhibitions or international trade fair happens. So that is one of the important thing again. Which is there. The next one is to sponsor trade delegation and conduct market survey. This is also one of the thing. Okay, they have their own team of experts, consultants work there. So they send these experts to the get exposure about the various markets which are there and various potential markets which are there. They try to identify such potential markets so that they can come back and advise their members to target these markets. And so based on what they will target, they target based on the analysis or the market surveys done. So where the market lies and what is their need, what is the requirement, or what is their standard specification, what they want. Because what is manufactured in India, don't think that the same can be expected, or the same will be accepted in the international market. They have their own specification depending upon their geographical features, their health habits, their way of life, and all those things. So whatever we do in India or whatever we consume or use in India may not be the same thing which should be used in other countries. So you need to bring the specifications. So according to the specification, you need to manufacture a product differently. So in India, you need to manufacture X, then in same thing, X plus one or something should be manufactured in foreign countries. So it depends, okay, what the destination country expects from you. So I think if I want to expand my business, if I want to expand, the board plays a prominent role here. Because board senses, understands what is the need and requirement of which country, what is their requirement, what is the need, and all those things. The specification, need, requirement, all those things will be published by the board to the members. So the members can accordingly bring changes in the product or commodities, and they can also depend upon the board for facilitating them to trade with those countries and all those things. So this is normally how things happen, okay, when we talk about the role of a board. Then to sponsor trade delegation and conduct market surveys, and to arrange pre-shipment inspection for export items. So very important. So pre-shipment inspections are very important, because once the consignment is shipped out, and if it reaches the destination place, and if they find there is some discrepancies in the commodities, then the whole consignment will be rejected. Okay, so don't think that they will only replace the deficient. They've asked you to replace only the deficient product. No, export doesn't work like that. So whenever, let us take an example. If you are exporting, let us say, garments like trousers or something like that. So if they find one defect in one zip, right, in the batch of, let us say, 100 trousers are there. In that 100 trousers, if they find one defect of a zip in that one, out of 100, one, they don't send only one back. Okay, they send the entire lot of 100. Okay, that's how the sampling will be done in international trade and all those things. So you should be very cautious and careful when you are going for export. So in order to avoid such type of burden on the exporter, this boards does the pre-shipment inspection. Okay, so they check whether everything is according to the need and requirement, according to the trade agreements, or according to the specifications of the importer and all those things. So this, because if you find any small error or discrepancies or defects, right, they can immediately replace it before sending the consignment, and then later on getting rejected as a whole. So better to replace it so that you can at least save some cost, or at least you can rectify the mistakes, whatever happened. So in that angle, what this board does is, board does the pre-shipment inspections. So for their members who are exporting through this board, okay, so they have a well-versed team which does the inspection and sees if there is any defect, or if it is not meeting any requirement or standards as specified by the outside agency, that is foreign country, that is importer. So they immediately take the action and try to replace that particular commodities, okay, with the correct one. So that is one thing. So they save huge cost for you instead of not sending it. So there are different boards which are there. Let me talk about some of the important boards. Okay, so the first board is, let us discuss something about coffee board. So there is a coffee board which is there, and as the name itself tells you, coffee board is a board which is created for exporting coffees. Okay, so their main aim is to look into the various aspects of the planters who are coffee growers. Okay, so they are the members. Okay, coffee growers will be the members of this board, and this board primarily functions by formulating and implementing programs and projects for growth and development of coffee. So coffee is one of the India is one of the major exporters of coffee. Okay, so this board tries to meet with their members and try to find the various issues or various activities which the growers need to undergo, okay, in order to export that coffee. So that's a very important thing. So they promote coffee consumption in India and export in the international market, supporting research, extension, and development activities for raising productivity and all those things. So in cases where, if during a particular season there is some let us say insects or pests which causes damages to the coffee. So immediately the coffee board will send their experts and try to analyze so the reason for, and also try to give advices on how to protect the coffee seeds from such type of insects and all those things. So the board actually plays a prominent role in giving necessary time-to-time advices, especially in terms of how to improve your yield, or how to improve the cultivation habits, or how to bring in the innovation and technology in that particular coffee activities and all those things. So they also give time-to-time knowledge dissemination in the form of various informations and various conducting various training programs and all those things to the farmers or coffee planters, especially in areas of which are the high yielding varieties and what are the varieties which can be grown in which soil and all those things. So they take care of entire technical aspect, marketing aspect, financial aspects, and all those things. So it's not that the board only looks into the technical. They look into the overall development and growth of that particular coffee industry. So whatever is required to be done in order to develop and grow, in order to see that the growth of coffee industries takes place in India. So whatever is required in that direction, they will be supporting through the board. Okay, so the members who can get the benefit. So you need to remember here, coffee board only helps their members. Okay, not the general public. So if you want to become, if you want to take the benefits or the services, whatever is been offered by coffee board, then you need to become a member of that board. Okay, so that's very important. So it's not a general advice. They are doing through board because they want the interested people, okay, to be part of their mission. So the mission is to provide growth and development and to encourage exports. That is the one thing. Okay, so evolving pest and disease resistant variants, I told you this is very important. So they have their own research teams and all those things. Experts will be there, research experts will be there. So they will be giving necessary advices from time to time, and they will be checking on the soil front and the pest fronts and all those things, and they will be giving time to time advice. And they also very important function. What they do is they also set the standards for the quality. Okay, so because when you talk about domestic consumption, we are used to having a blend of chicory and coffee powder, which we'll be using. But that may not be the need or requirement in foreign country. They want some flavors and they want that smell and all those things. Okay, so when we talk about in India, the habits of how we drink coffee is something different, and the coffee how the people in outside India drink is something different. So there are a lot of differences in the taste, preference, and the choice, and also from the point of health also. So there are a lot of things which those people think, okay, which we don't normally think here. So we are born and brought up with such type of habits here. They have been born and brought up with their own types of habits. So we need to synchronize. So when we are developing a product or when we are thinking of bringing out a product or a commodity from the same cultivation habits, so later on, how do you blend it? That's a very important thing. So if I am a person who is catering to both the market, that is, I'm not only exporting, I'm even meeting the needs and requirement of the domestic environment also. So in such cases, we need to have a separate export division and separate internal local division separately. Because if I'm exporting, let us say, to one country, it's okay. If I'm exporting 10 different countries, so 10 different requirements are there, 10 different standards will be there. It's not that all the exporting countries will have the same requirement and standards. So there are a lot of things which are there here. Okay, so it's not simply export means just you cannot, whatever you produce, it cannot be exported. So exportable is something different. Export is different. Exportable is something different. So exportability is the quality of the products what you are exporting. So how do you export, and what are the features which needs to be there in your exporting products? All those things have becomes important. So it differs from country to country. That is also one of the biggest challenge. Okay, it differs from country to country. So if you are an exporter for 5 different countries, then 5 different types of product flavor you need to bring into your product. Similarly in India also, right? So whatever the coffee you're selling it to in Bangalore or in South India is different from whatever the coffee people drink in North India. So adjusting to that environment or the need or requirement of the consumers becomes very important. So when you talk about a product or when you talk about a commodity, you need to make sure that these type of things are inculcated in the manufacturing process. Okay, so depending upon who the end users are. So that role is performed by the board. Okay, board gives timely instructions, timely advisory services to their members. Okay, in enforcing the quality standards at all steps. So that's very important. Okay, because it's not only the interest of the particular company which is exporting is matters here. The entire interest of the nation is there. Okay, so if one bad feeling is there, then they put in their website that the particular product imported from India. That's how they put, not that particular product imported from X company. They don't put like that. So they totally take the name of India itself. So we should be very careful when we are exporting. So in that angle, board plays a very prominent role. So timely and necessary advices in terms of enforcing quality standards at all stages will be done by the board. So that in that way, board plays a very, very, very major role to its members. So that's why it's advisable to all those exporters to become member of their respective boards. Okay, because you can take the latest advice or services from the board who can help you in various activities. So especially when you're going for exports. Okay, because the consignment matters here, and also once if you're blacklisted in one country, right, that will have a far-reaching effect not only for you but also for the entire country. So you will be blacklisted, and that will be visible on the online portal whenever any person wants to do business with you, logs into that portal and sees that if you have been blacklisted, then it throws a wrong perceptions or image in the market. So that's very important. So better take the advisory services, time to time advisory services on the board. So board are the better people to advise you on this. So that is about coffee board. Next is rubber board. See, all the boards does the similar function. So if you know what is coffee board, right, you can just put the same things in rubber board also. Unless and until if there are specific features. I don't think there are any specific features, because these boards have been created only to take care of that particular commodities. So coffee board only to take care of all the coffee growers, interest of coffee growers. This coffee board has been set up. Similarly, rubber board has been set up in order to take care of all the rubber growing farmers. Okay, so rubber growing, rubber development, rubber manufacturing, and all these things. So allied activities, growing and their allied activities. Okay, so they all come under rubber board. The board is responsible for the development of rubber industry. So they right from manufacturer, processors, sellers, distributors, and farmers. That they are the main people who grow this rubber. So it assists and encourages scientific, technical, and economic research. That's very important. That's the role of all the boards. Okay, they try to find out what are the technical glitches which are there, or where we need to focus on in terms of technology, innovation, R&D, and all those things. Then scientific, in order to bring some areas of advancement in terms of the making available the product range and all those things. So they will focus on that also. Supplying technical advice to rubber growers, very important. That's this. They provide necessary training facility, testing facilities, and all those things. So you can use these for doing the testings, checking your samples, all those things. So that's a very important thing, because the main problem is infrastructure. You cannot bring such infrastructure into your industry and try to do your own testing. So it's a waste of time and waste of money and waste of investment also. So better try to take the advisory services from the board. Board has its own testing centers and all those things. You take it to the board. They will test for you, and they will give all the necessary inputs for you and all those things. So the board plays a prominent role in giving technical services. Okay, this is the board major activity done by the rubber board. Then it also not only does this testing and awareness and all those things relating to technology and all those things, but it also helps in training. Okay, facilitate training, creating awareness, and also they talk about the saplings which needs to be used, and which saplings comes in which part of India in a very good way, or which saplings are demanded, which saplings doesn't have too much effect on nature. See, these are the various things, because I may be misled by some people if I go and try to do it. So if I do it through a board, I think these are all the government bodies. So I think I can get a correct information for my whatever that I'm asking for. And also the supports, timely support also may be encouraged or extended by this government to me. And not only that, they may help me in funding also, okay, because since they are connected with government, right, there will be various financial institutions which will be supporting these boards also. So they can help you in getting finance arranged for you and all those things. So overall, the board plays. There is nothing called as only this roles comes under board. So anything relating to export, if you are go and ask them, if they can't do it, at least they will route you through where you need to get it done. So at least that type of services they are ready to provide you. Okay, so because the board has its own limitation, you cannot expect board to do all the necessary functions. So in some cases, what happens if there is the particular request what you are raising doesn't come under the ambit, okay, or under the powers of the board. So, but definitely they will help you to route it to the correct areas or the correct people who will be helping you on that. So the board functions that, okay, it's not that only what has been told, what has been given in the bylaws of the board, they need to do only those things. No, if they have some context, yes, they will extend that context to you. So they say, we on behalf of us, our members are coming, you can just help them out. See, something, they can make some arrangements for you. That is called as facilitating. So the board facilitates, helps you in case if they are not able to provide, or if that particular activity is not under the purview of the board. So at least they will route you through the people who will be actually doing that type of activity. So that is one of the important roles or functions of a board is concerned with. Okay, they will help you out in routing to the right people. Okay, and of course, training, mentoring, all those things they are doing. And they collect statistics and of the owners of estate, dealers, manufacturers, and all those things. So that is they take care of their members. So in order to get all this benefit, you need to become member. Okay, that's very important. So these are only member services. Don't think that they will give only services related to members. Even a common man who is a planter or a grower of rubber, he can also go approach, and whatever the necessary information, you can take it from their website, or through interaction you can take it on all those things. So if you become a member, there will be some offers for you. Okay, if you are a member, they will be giving it at a concessional rate, or they will be giving some credit points to you, or they will be helping in funding and all those things at a lower rate of interest and all those things. So you get membership benefit. Okay, what are the benefits members will get? The common man, if he is approaching, he will not get. So that's the only difference, member and non-member. So that doesn't mean that they will only support members. No, they will also try to help the non-members also. But they may charge extra fee, or they may not give at the rate at what they give to their members and all those things. So that point you need to bear in mind. So if you become a member, you have a lot of advantages. So in terms of exposure visit, or giving space for you to participate in exhibition, they may give some concessions, or they may give a different price for you, and for non-members they may charge different price. So those things will be there. Okay, so don't be of the impression that whenever I'm talking about this boards are only helping members. No, it helps even non-members also. But they may charge some extra fees, or extra service or processing charges will be there, which is not there for the members. So that is the only thing. So the intention of the government starting up this board is not just to bring only members into the mainframe. Even a non-member also can become, they need to participate in the mainframe. That's the intention of the government. Because the ultimate objective of this board is to promote exports. So exports promotion should happen from India. So be it a member or a non-member, that's not our botheration. Our botheration is we need to see that the economy grows. Okay, the economy develops, and we get more foreign participations. Okay, we go for more and more exports. Okay, so that is the intention. Intention is very wide. It's not only for members, it's for all people who are doing that particular activities, like rubber growers, or and tea growers, coffee growers, and all those things. So spice board is there and all those things. So next is about tea board. So coffee board is over, rubber board is over, now tea board. So the primary function of the board includes rendering and technical assistance of cultivation, manufacturing, marketing of tea. So I think I told you, right, if you know a rubber board or if you know coffee board, you can write the same points for all these boards. Okay, so it's almost same. Promoting tea export, there we told promoting coffee exports and all those things. So there will be no much difference in points except for the schemes what they run. So for you people, don't worry about the schemes and all, because this is no way very important for you in terms of we are not studying these boards as a separate, we are studying it in a syllabus of commodity markets. Please remember, our topic is commodity market. In that, we are studying about this. Only thing is, you need to be aware that there are some boards, okay, and these are the functions of the board. So don't get into too much of these schemes which are being given in T-board. So if you go to the scheme, then definitely there are schemes which are different from each boards. Okay, the membership fees may be different, the functioning will be different, the nature of activities what these people will drive will be different, how they do it is different. Okay, so if we study these boards in depth or in detail, right, then there is a lot of differences which will be there between one board to another board. But since we are studying it under commodity market, we should know that there are some people who are there, okay, who are also trying to work with these boards in order to facilitate, okay, so that the quality of the product, the new technology or innovations in the products are all bought into. Because for me to tomorrow trade on this particular commodities in the market, right, because these are all commodities which are traded in the market. So if I want to trade this commodity in the market, I need to know about, if I get a doubt of what about the quality, then we need to know whether these guys are already the members of the board or are they taking the advisory services from the board and all. So in that angle, it is important that we need to understand this concept of board. Okay, not too much in depth. Okay, the schemes part, how the schemes works, how the membership works, how the meetings happens, and how they decide what are the key decisions they take in the board meetings. See, that is not our concern. Okay, that is not the point what we need to discuss here, because this is, I am talking about commodity markets. In that, a small topic is on boards, commodity boards. For that purpose, we are trying to understand what are these commodity boards. So in that angle, I am telling you that whatever you are studying in terms of rubber board or coffee board, right, almost same points you can mention here also. But if they ask you to mention something about scheme, then scheme varies. But that they don't ask it because that is not your part of study which is there for you. So in commodity market, role of board is important, commodity boards. So we are just discussing what are the boards and what are its functions. So we are looking at the macro aspects here, not getting into too much of details. So aiding research and development, it's also same point which we had already discussed in rubber and coffee. Encouraging assistance the unorganized small growers sector financially and technically. So this is done in all the boards. Okay, so in order to facilitate the board members to function very well, right? So what they do is they need to encourage people by extending timely funding requirements and giving them technical assistance in the form of training or in the form of making use of their equipment for the benefit of the farmers and all those things. So this is possible. This is, they are doing it. Boards are doing all these things. Okay. Then collecting and maintaining statistical data and publication for the benefit of growers, processors, and exporters. So data collection is a very important thing. They publish a lot of informations. So anyone who is interested in particular taking up this tea business, right? First and foremost thing, he can just go and do a search in the tea board, okay, website. So he gets a lot of information relating to tea board and tea and the process involved, manufacturing involved, the marketing concepts, everything is available. So the research data, they give it state-wise or geographical-wise or grower-wise or whatever it is. So you get a lot of information, and from that you get a lot of inputs. So datas are very important for getting inputs. Okay, so inputs are very important for you to take decisions. So that those type of vital statistical information, not only for the farmers and the grower community, but also to the government, it's important. So board facilitates a role of providing information to the government, the respective ministry, to take necessary policy decisions. Okay, so the most of the policy decisions are based on the fundamental analysis or the statistics what they are getting from various boards. So in that angle, this boards also provide statistical information for policymakers, and also statistical and necessary data information for the grower communities or marketing communities or for exporters or for importers. See, a lot of people start using data. When you make the data public, right, a lot of people will read your data. So just like if you put something on social media, right, it's not only that your friends will read. There are a lot of business people will be interested to look into your information, or there will be a lot of cinema industry people will be interested to look. See, there are many people who are there who will be looking your information from various angles. Okay, so here also, whatever the data which is published by board, right, it will be used by various people, various stakeholders, or various researcher, or various policy makers. See, a lot of people will be interested to look into the data. So whatever the data comes from the T board, so it will have wide repercussions, wide reachability with various repercussion on various activities. So that's very important. Then we have tobacco board. Just like we talked about this one, rubber board and all those things, tobacco board is also an important board. The primary function of the board includes regulating the production and curing of tobacco. So this is a very important thing, because these are something which is related to in health matters. Tobacco is injurious to health, you know, right? So tobacco, on the tobacco products and all, they will mention. Okay, so tobacco will lead to cancer and all those things. It's very not advisable to chew tobacco and all those things they mention. So since it's health related, and which has an impact on the human being's health, right? So this board functions a very sensitive job. Okay, they function very sensitive role. Especially the tobacco markets. Okay, what type of quality tobacco is coming, because something, these are chewable things which will be having a very serious health related hazards. So the board has a very important role to play, especially when you are exporting or when you are supplying to domestic consumers. So you need to ensure that the standard and the quality of the products which is offered in the markets are tested, or high quality standards, so that it doesn't create too much damages. Tobacco creates damages, but it should not create too much damages. Okay. Ensuring fair and remunerative price to growers. This is also a very important thing which is there. Okay. And because the price is a very important thing. So the growers need to get a proper price for whatever they produce they are growing. So here tobacco, whatever they are growing, right, they should get remunerative prices. Okay. So the board pits in and tries to procure sometimes at a price which is beneficial to the growers, in spite of taking a lot of challenges on them. So this is also a very important thing. Maintaining and improving existing markets and developing new markets abroad by devising appropriate marketing strategies. So this is also a very important role what the board functions. Okay, so lastly, Spice Board is there. So it's one of the oldest board in India, Spice Board, and very important board during the British period and all. Because there was a lot of demand for spices which used to originate from India during those days. So now India was the major exporter of spices, okay, for many years. But now slowly it has decreased, because all the countries have now started growing spices, and they are now started having their own varieties of spices grown in their area. So because of that, the markets have come down, but India was the dominating market for spice products. So the primary function of the board includes increasing the production and productivity of small and large cardamom. So cardamom is one thing which they are talking about, because that is that's the product commodity which has been traded at a very high price. Okay, so the market of cardamom is never will fall. So we have seen that. Okay, so that there is a lot of demand for this because of various application of cardamom in various sectors. Development, promotion, and regulation of export of spices, granting certificate for exports of spices, and all those things. Undertaking programs and project for promotion of export for spice. So they do this. Okay, the quality and the standard specification for the spices have been given, because the Indians are, if you see across the world, right, Indians are the people who will who are very very accustomed, or where they use more spice. Okay, so I had been to London. So when I had been to London, right, I experienced this. If you go and ask for any hot or spicy food there, right, they don't give you any hot or spicy food because they don't eat it. So if you want anything spicy, right, they will bring into chilies and they'll give it to you. So, sir, this is what spicy thing we have in our restaurant. So most of the countries, right, they are not accustomed, or they don't use spice like how India use. Okay, so they don't taste this food also. They are not used to spicy food. So they are more of the what do you call, sweets. They are more dependent on sweet, and they don't take any spice. So if you ask them spice, they will give you two chilies to along with the menu, whatever you want. So that's our that's what our experience was when I traveled to a couple of countries. Okay, so that's my experience. I have felt that. So, but wherever the Indians are in large in numbers, right? If you go to Indian restaurant, that is the only place where you can taste some spicy food. Okay, so or else it's very difficult to find spicy foods in a lot of countries outside India. So, but nowadays, spicy foods are trying to play a role in other countries also. So the board role has become now widened. Okay, so they promote exports, and undertake programs and project for promotion of exports and all those things. Assisting and encourage study and research for improvement processing. They have all boards have their own research centers. Okay, so they will be giving timely advisory services to you, relating to any diseases or relating to any uh, um, new varieties of saplings, plants, or seeds, or whatever it is. So that is the role of the technical department or R&D department, which will be there in the board. They will be continuously working on those areas in order to create these things. So, and also grading and packing becomes a very important thing in export. So what are the material you need to use when you want to export, so that these are all these are all products which will be consumed. Spice is something which is getting into your body. So health is a very important factor. So everything matters here, right? From the origin of that particular product, what are the chemicals you have used in order to grow, or whether it's an organic method you have used, and what are the pesticides here. See, everything matters. And not only that, even the packing things also matters. So how you are packing these spicy things. So what is that? Whether it is getting exposed, the material, whatever the packing material you are using is getting exposed into the product. Okay, so the packing things are very important. The labeling part is also important. The grading part is also important. See, there are a lot of things. Okay, once you get into this practical aspects of how to do business, right, you will understand all these things. So the farmers will not be aware of all these things, or the growers who wants to export will not be aware of the entire thing. You might be having some knowledge, but the board facilitates by providing the overall knowledge. So they give assistance. Okay, you can just take your product to them. They will do the testing. They will tell you what type of packing needs to be done. They will help you out how to do the exports. They will help you in shipping that. See, everything they will do you. Okay, they will support you to the core extent, because that's the major objective of the board. Board is to facilitate exports, and to that's the intention under which the ministry has set up the boards, various boards. Okay, so since it cannot be done by one organization, they have set up boards wherein each boards in each state has its boards. Okay, each state has its own boards, and they run through various district offices and all those things. So it's a big structure which is happening here. So paying a nominal membership fees and becoming a member of the board and getting all these benefits is really very advantageous. Okay, so we need to help people because many of them doesn't know about the role of boards and how to become members and all those things. So that's the role what we can also play. So serving towards stabilization of price of spices for export and controlling and upgrading quality of exports. Quality is a very important thing. So in nutshell, this is what the boards. So our intention of why did we study about all these boards in commodity market is because we need to know that there is a proper regulation mechanism of commodity which is happening through various boards set up under by ministry. So whenever we talk about quality grading and all those things, which will be the next part of my class session, I'll be telling you about the quality grading and all those things. So if you have this board support in advance, then definitely your quality produce can be sold in the market. So there it becomes very important that whenever you want to enter into a contract, future contract on a commodity, and we need to ensure that whether that person was a member of the board or not. So if that is the case, then we can rely on that person, and at the time of negotiating the price, we can negotiate the price, and we know that 100% the product whatever is offering is a quality product. Because what happens in future markets, right? Future market is purely totally dependent on what the future outcome will be, but we don't know what the future outcome will be. We are betting on the price. We are telling that 3 months our future contract price is so much, but I haven't seen the product. I don't know what is the quality of the product, but I know only the farmer. So if that farmer is taking the advisory services of the board, then the product or the commodity which is coming out may be a quality product only. That's how I can infer. So in that angle and in angle of the buyer getting into contract with the supplier, I think there this particular concept of board role is very important. Okay, so that's where tomorrow you may ask for a certificate, asking for whether you are an active member of the board or not. See, these all encourages you to set an price for your products. So your future price is determined depend upon all these features, whether the farmer is a member of a board or whether the track history of the farmer, where do you track all these things. So that becomes very important. Once you can just see this information, right, you can get a lot of information into enter into the contract. So you can have a long-term contracts with such type of people, and you can go for a future contracts of a recurring nature. So that's also possible. So that was the intention today why I covered this particular topic. This is part of your syllabus. So if you have any questions, you can ask me. So is there any questions? Are you following what I'm explaining? Okay. Okay, fine. I think I'm done with today's topic. I was just talking about the board concepts. Okay, good. So this roll of boards, they have given you only with these type of boards. Whatever board I have covered, right, only those boards they have told in the syllabus. So that's why I have covered only those boards. Fine. So the next class we'll be discussing in a little bit in detail about the quality and standard specifications. So especially which are very important, we need to know what are the various quality standards are there and how the quality standards are determined and why it's important and all those things. So we'll discuss this in the next class. Okay. Thank you.